We're all here except for Julia. And I'd like to call this meeting of the Northfield Township Land
We have
Preservation
someone
Committee to
called
order.
Lauren. Do we know who Lauren is?
No, we can ask who Lauren is.
Lauren, who are you?
Lauren's muted.
I know, I'm trying to unmute her.
She can unmute her. She'll have to unmute herself also. So maybe she just wants to watch.
And Sue Schenk is in the waiting room.
I just put her
There
in.
she is. Great.
Fantastic.
All right, so
So I'll call the roll then.
call to order and roll call. Yes, please.
All right, so we called to order at 6:02 p.m. I'll call the roll call. Remember to state your township, county, and state. So I am Marissa Pridgent. I am attending virtually from Northfield Township in Washtenaw County, Michigan. Christina Ferris.
She's muted.
She can unmute herself.
Okay.
There I am. Sorry. Hi, Christina Ferris, attending from Northfield Township, Michigan. Did I say everything?
You got it. Thank you.
Okay.
David Gordon.
David Gordon attending virtually from Northfield Township, Michigan, planet Earth.
Julia Henshaw.
Julie is
All
not
right.
here at the
I
moment.
don't see her.
Susan Schink.
I'll send her a
Present
text.
attending virtually from Northfield Township, Michigan.
Thank you. Tallulah West.
Hi, reporting from Northfield Township, Washtenaw County, Michigan.
Thank you. Lenore Zelena.
Present, and I'm here in Northfield Township, Washtenaw County, Michigan.
All right, everybody is here and accounted for or not. I
Great.
have what I need.
I've moved that we adopt the agenda.
I'll support.
Do I hear a second?
Yes.
I'll second.
I have support. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Call to the public. We have a woman, or we have an entity named Lauren on that I can see, but it's muted. Lauren, if you'd like to speak, now would be a time to do that. There'll also be a time to speak at the end of the meeting if you're interested. Seeing nothing, hearing nothing, we'll move along to board member comments. Does anyone have any board member comments? I'd just like to say good job. It seems like a lot of people did a lot of work between last month and today, and I'm excited about the progress that's being made. If no one else has anything else, I've also texted Julia to see where she's at. Approval of the minutes.
I have a correction. I noticed just a typo. On the first page under agenda item number 2, the motion just has like a weird, it says motion by Gordon, support by Pridgent to submit bylaws to refer to the, so I will just omit the to submit bylaws. It's just a typo. But I'd already sent them to you guys when I noticed it.
Okay,
But with that amendment, I would motion to approve the minutes.
second.
Aye.
Did you see the note from Sue there?
What note?
The host is not allowing, I'm sorry, it's from Christina, people to unmute themselves.
Okay.
I
Good
just
with
clicked on
that.
Okay.
It should be good now.
I tried to unmute myself earlier and the guy got that error message.
I got it.
So maybe Lauren, I don't know, maybe Lauren wanted to say something, but.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, I just clicked ask to unmute, so
Okay.
Lauren, if you'd like to say something now.
Yeah, she's still muted, and from what I can tell.
And I wasn't able to chat. I could not find that function
I
today.
can't see it either.
There is no chat on these open meetings because the participants can't see it.
Okay.
Like, that's my
Okay,
understanding. Like, there is no private
we have
chat.
A motion and a second on the minutes. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Unanimous. Adopted agenda items. A brief update on the 2/9/21 Board of Trustees meeting. Lenore, this would be you.
Okay, so it did not go as planned or as expected. There was pushback from trustee Otto on the bylaws. However, after the end of the long discussion, there was not a motion, but a comment that it does say in the minutes, Dignan and Zelenak will work with the attorney on the bylaws. So I have reached out to the attorney about the bylaws, and I've talked to Dignan, and he basically said, yes, the attorney is going to work on them. However, I did suggest that the attorney used to have office hours, and that it would be good if we started that so we could come in and talk about some of the items with the LPC, such as the bylaws, fundraising, and I have some other items as well as treasurer to talk to him. So we'll see if we can get that going. So basically, it doesn't appear many organizations have bylaws. The Planning Commission probably has bylaws, which they do, but it doesn't seem like they are appropriate. That's what I hear. So it did not go very well. And I actually challenged the board members without getting into quite the fist fight. Don't put this down, Marissa. That I didn't think they were reading our liaison reports, because it had stuff in there that they were questioning why we were doing. So it's not an overall good meeting as far as the LPC goes. So that's my comments. Are there any questions?
Go ahead, Marissa.
I was going to say, I don't have any questions, but I attended the meeting, and just to share with the committee, the basic gist of it was we did the bylaws, but we shouldn't have done the bylaws, which now the attorney is going to do. So it just felt like a waste of time, but I think that they're going to take it on now. So at least we don't have to spend any more time doing that. And with the ordinance, I felt like because it was mentioned in our update, they thought they should have more information, but during the call to the public, I did clarify that we were just updating them on what we were working on, and we were planning on presenting something to them in the future, and that's why we were giving them an update. Like, it wasn't an agenda item, it was an update, and I think that from there, that kind of cleared things up.
It was, I'm telling you what you're telling me you want me to do. Pretty much.
Yeah, it was, overall it was disappointing because, we do serve at the pleasure of the board, and I guess we're looking for direction. And I said, you should read all our bios. It's quite an impressive group, and we're working really hard, and there's different direction. We just need to be told. So anyway, we'll see how it goes.
Well, the positive thing is we did work up a set of bylaws. They're good, and they were transmitted to the attorney. So it's not like the work that we did was simply thrown away. It's sitting at the attorneys now, and hopefully they'll incorporate some of the things that we put together at the request of the new supervisor. So we're going to move forward. We have enough support on the board for the actions that we want to take at this point. And bylaws, I never thought were that important in the first place. It just seemed kind of silly that I could see Sue shaking her head there because she went through this before, where the bylaws were presented and tossed out, and it gets pretty frustrating. I share the frustration that everybody feels on.
I appreciate the folks that worked hard on that for doing, I know I couldn't have done it. So thank you. I know it was a grueling task to do. So appreciate that.
Thank you. So now we have the next
Just a question, like any sense of what the process is then moving forward, so the attorney reviews what we've created and then has to draft the bylaws?
So my comment on that, or my thought is, again, I think it will be good if we can have him start doing office hours so that we can go through and show him what we have, or at least present it or send it to him. Some of the things he was commenting on is basically you don't put in your bylaws who's on, how many members you have. That should be done by resolution and not in bylaws. However, I think every bylaw for including the Planning Commission, has that in the bylaws. So we got a little education on what bylaws should have and shouldn't have. And so, like David said, I'm not sure we need them. I personally think you need them so you can tell people that want to join your group or people that want to read about our committee is, what are we? What do we do? So I will push forward on that and work with our supervisor to move forward, at least to have them look at it and either say nay or yay. But I think it's important actually because it tells members of the public as well as people that want to be part of the committee what we are made of. So I will move forward.
It doesn't impede like what we're doing. We can
No,
still continue to move.
It does not impede what we're doing.
Marissa?
I would just add from the meeting, what I took from it was right off the bat, Supervisor Didnan expressed that by reviewing our bylaws, he discovered that most of the bylaws for all of the committees are done incorrectly and should be reviewed by the attorney, not just ours.
Right.
So what I'm hoping to see come back is resolutions that say how many people are going to be on the committee, the things that should be coming from the board, and some sort of direct guidance in creating our bylaws and how we want to operate.
Right.
So that I think is what we should be getting back from the attorney, as far as my understanding of it went.
Yep. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's a very positive thing. At least it's like it highlighted that other committees and other, the planning commission, which you statutory have to have, it doesn't appear like their bylaws and resolution was done appropriately. So that's one good thing is we highlighted missteps all around. Again, what I've talked to Janet and Jackie afterwards, and I just said, we're just looking for direction. If there's a policy you want us to follow, just tell us what it is.
Right.
And we will march to that tune. We just don't know what tune it is that we're to march to. So we need direction. We have a really talented group and we need to, if we will do what you are asking us, just tell us what it is that you're asking us.
Thank you. I'm sorry to hear that that's what happened. I mean, we've already been through the bylaws before and we didn't get good direction. We have some new board members, but I think it's some of the same board members who might have given us direction before who chose not to and are still criticizing us for working hard. But I think that's where, sometimes if I seem kind of burnt out or frustrated, I think that's where that's coming from. And I hope that new members that you don't catch that we get this moving and through before the frustration sets in.
Right.
And we do have new board members. But I want to say that in terms of thinking like, oh, we did it wrong at the county, the bylaws do often, even though resolution will set how many members are on a board, the bylaws will still talk about that. And so, it's I think the preference of the township that it be done a certain way, which is totally fine, but nobody was, mistaken by putting them in their absent direction. I just want you to not feel bad about doing it wrong, because I think it's just a preference.
I think the only thing I feel bad about is, moving forward. But as Christina said, it doesn't impede us to do other things. So we will get this resolved one way or another. Either we don't need to have them again, or we will have them and it'll be resolved. So we'll work on getting a resolution.
Okay, cool. That leads directly into our next agenda item, because when the discussion at the board meeting turned to an ordinance, we were told in no uncertain terms that we shouldn't be drafting an ordinance, blah, blah, blah. So we're not drafting an ordinance. We changed from presenting them with the ordinance that we have to the document that you see here, which is the outline that Lenore, Marissa, and I have been working on. And it's an outline that essentially simply asks the board to, it answers some of the questions they've raised and asks the board to ask the Planning Commission to draft a PDR ordinance. There are some changes to this document from what you see in your packet.
Fun, and it's very simple.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to change is after I sent this out to you all, David sent me an updated list on the second section of who do neighboring communities have PDR ordinances. There are several additional communities I'm going to add to that section. So that's the only change. So, it's not like a ton of changes. It's just that.
Well, that's actually good, Marissa, because I had talked to David this morning and I was going through all the material last night and said, hey, it would be good to indicate that 12 out of the 20 counties have PDR ordinances.
Yeah, we're going to add that to that section.
Yes, and there are a couple other small things. from talking with the Rosie Paulo Donaldson at the county, when you look at that paragraph under what is purchase of development rights, the second one, a conservation easement is a legal agreement. She said we should add the word to the second sentence, and all other rights associated with it, because there are, just to be clear, and then take out mineral water, etc. Because when you do sell your development rights, Sue, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm fairly sure that the mineral rights are included in that. If you
It
agree,
depends,
yeah.
because they, in some places, the speculation on the oil was causing an issue because the oil companies would take the oil anyway because of directional drilling. And so I know we talked about it at the county, but I'm not sure what's being done now. Talked about leaving the mineral rights in because the oil was going to be taken anyway. And so we wanted the people who own the land to be able to get the money for it.
Okay. What we're trying to do here is our subcommittee is to try to be as simple and unambiguous as possible and not raise any other issues. So just to say all other rights associated with it and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I can make that change.
Good. Also, when you look at why do we need a PDR ordinance, the language there is a little convoluted. We basically are saying that we need it to apply for and administer millions of dollars in federal grants. Without it, Northfield Township is ineligible for the money, for instance, distributed by the MDARD program, and then the reference. So that's what that paragraph is all about. There's only one other change that I was going to recommend is
David, I didn't know what you wanted to change. What do you want to change about that? Like you said, it was convoluted, but what would you like to change?
I'd like it to read, according to statute, comma, a PDR ordinance is required to apply in order to apply and administer millions in state and federal grants.
Oh,
Period.
we changed it because that's not what it says. There was an email exchange. Maybe you missed it. But my feedback on that was that's not what state law says.
Right. I said the same thing, didn't I? I said the same
Well,
thing.
that's probably why he's surprised to see it changed because.
Okay. All right.
But that's not what the state law says.
All
So
right.
you
That's
put
why I
something
kept it
different.
that way.
Okay.
Leave it the way it is. Under what funding sources are available, the state of Michigan has the MDARD, but they also, I discovered by talking to the people at Salem Township, that there's a state of Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund, which acquires land for resource protection and public outdoor recreation. $10 million a year is available. So I want to add that in as a fifth, right after state of Michigan MDARD, we'll have state of Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund. And the only other suggestion I had was on the very last thing. Does a PDR ordinance commit the board to funding preservation? I would simply like to say no. Period.
Okay.
And not even bring up whether we're going to request funding at this time, because it'll just open up the can of worms. Well, you're going to request it later, blah, blah, blah.
I just wanted to point out, especially to the newer board members who may not understand how ordinances work and that they're going to get a chance to see it many times, that that we're not requesting one to be included in the ordinance.
How about no period? There is no funding mechanism included in the ordinance.
Oh, yeah. Well, we haven't seen the ordinance, right?
Right.
We're not requesting a funding mechanism be
Yeah,
included,
okay, yeah.
right?
Right.
Okay, so we'll
We are
just take
not
out that first
requesting-
part. We'll just take the LPC is not
Hello?
requesting a funding mechanism to be included in the ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
after
We'll
a
just
lot
remove
of back
funding
and
at this
forth, and
time.
apparently one that I missed about the law, we now have a document that we're going to vote on tonight so that we can present it to the board and have it in their packet for their March 9th meeting, and probably do a little behind the scenes lobbying so that hopefully there is no pushback this time on this. We've given the board exactly what they wanted, which is we're not giving them an ordinance, and we'll get a we will get a 7-0 vote in favor of this, because I'd really like to have some unanimous action from the board supporting what we're doing. So that's the goal. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
I don't have anything to add, but I do want to make it clear that this has to make it into the March 9th packet. I have to have this in Ken Dignan's email prior to noon tomorrow. So.
Right, so I'd like to make a motion to adopt the outline as amended.
I'll support.
You are unmuted, Tallulah. Unmute Sue.
Yes.
She is unmuted.
She's now.
She's voting. She's like, yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to log into my computer and it's just like I've spent 15 minutes on it. I'm about to die. Anyway, so
Julia.
Hi, I'm here. I'm sorry. I thought it was at 7.
That's okay.
Right. No problem. So if I don't hear any other comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 7-0. Off to the races.
So and Lauren, still, we don't know who Lauren is. Right?
Nope.
Just, okay.
Item number 3 on our agenda. Discuss the May 22nd nature hike. So,
Yay.
Yeah.
Tallulah and Julia,
Oh,
You're here
I
just
thought
in time, Julia.
Christina. Where's Christina? I thought she was going to
Here.
be.
he's right here.
Oh, are you? I don't see you. Okay. Well, Christina, that's Christina's gig.
Well, I put together a flyer or a piece that we can pull apart to use for whatever promotion that we need. And it's in the packet. I can also share my screen if everybody wants to just look at it. If
That would be good.
works.
I recommend that.
Okay, I
Do I
will
have to
do
give you
that.
anything to do?
Let me just pull it up. Hold on. All right, 2 seconds. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
So that's
I'll
one
fix you.
participant can share it at a time. Oh, all participants. How about that?
Here we go.
There you go.
All right, here we are.
I have to go to class. Sorry.
So this is the hike piece that we put together, and I worked with Tallulah and Julia on this. And it's something like that Marissa could pull parts of it out, or we could use it as a, a standalone piece.
So I don't see it. Am I the only one that doesn't see it?
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't
shared.
Sorry,
There
I
it
have
goes.
to click one more button. I have to actually share it.
There we
So,
go.
Blow it up. You maximize it. Or wait, viewing
It's filling
option.
up my whole screen.
Here we go. I got it.
okay. So I use and thank you, Marissa, I use the branding guidelines, and I use the colors that I pulled from the branding guidelines. How they render sometimes is a little wonky depending on your computer, but the fonts and everything should be consistent with the branding guidelines. So we worked together. Julia drafted some copy and I put it into this format, and she had some lovely photos that we've included. So you can see it here. Spring hike sponsored by us, the date, put the 3 different times that are available. And Julia's been communicating with Sean from the parks. And so there are 2. So Sean's going to do the first one and the last one. And then the members, a couple members of the LPC will do the middle one. So you can see that we have the asterisks because these are family friendly hikes. They're an hour and a half. And then the longer hike we're recommending for 2 hours for adults. So a little bit of copy here about what people can expect, who's leading the hikes. And then there's an online registration. Can you see the new, well, it hasn't popped up yet. Are you following the link? Do you see the registration form?
I checked the registration form already. I actually used it.
Oh, great. So I understand we don't use clip art, but I will tell you, I monkeyed around with this thing for probably an hour, and all the images that I had that were that I got from Julia, they did not work. They they rendered upside down. So this actually rendered correctly. So I thought, okay, it's sweet. We'll just use this. And so it allows you to register. It puts limits on the number of people that can register for each hike. And then we'll get the notices. I'll get the notices of the registration. So that's the link that's on there. So I should be able to go back. Why? You can see where's the hike ad? Now I can't go back. Oh, here we are.
Right.
And just we also have links to the Northfield Township website and our Facebook. So as we get more information, hopefully they'll put some information up on the Northfield website and a little more detail. So we worked to put this together, and the subcommittee approved it. So we just wanted to present it to the committee tonight to get everybody's blessing on it and be able to start to use it. We figured we would, start about a month out, because otherwise, people might sign up and forget, or, it's a little bit early yet, but we thought we would start the promotion in April.
Cool. Very nice. I have one comment.
Yes.
So my only comment was, and it says spring hike. Would we want to say Northfield Township spring hike? I don't know if that'll fit or if it changes up. That was my only comment. Otherwise, I thought it was awesome. Even without that change, it's still awesome.
Okay. I always go for brief, especially in a headline like that.
Okay.
We've got Northfield Township Land Preservation Committee, and then, right below that's the location. So I'm hoping that people.
That was my only comment. So
okay.
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, great. I will stop sharing then.
I have a few comments, if I may.
Yeah, you want me to bring it back up again?
No, I'm looking at it. I printed it out.
Okay.
No, you can bring it back up for us, Marissa.
Yeah, okay.
I was being tacky today, and I didn't print a lot of stuff out, so anything you guys could share would be helpful.
Simple little feedback things. I would add something that I think people are surprised by and may not realize is that there are no dogs allowed on the preserves. So I think that that's worth adding, maybe down in the box where, it says to address appropriately.
Yeah.
Somewhere, I think I would add that there are no dogs permitted.
Okay.
Because I've seen people show up and read the sign, no dogs, with their dogs, while I've been there hiking. So I just think people assume their dogs can go wherever they go. I think the heading, I like being brief on spring hike. I don't think you need the on a, discover the beautiful outdoors spring hike. I don't think you need on a spring hike, but that's a personal, I don't feel strongly about it, but that would be something that I would recommend. Other than that, I think this looks really great. I think you guys did a really good job. And I love how you said, I could pull different pieces from this, because that's exactly what I was thinking. I could clip each one of these things as an image and use them separately on our social media or on the website. So I think that that's great. I would just want to see, I think that a month ahead of time is great. So maybe for our April meeting, we could identify who we need to send this to get it into the newsletters, where it's going to go, if we're going to print these out and put them at the library or the community center or
Township Hall.
Yeah, wherever we need to. I would just like to see, okay, other than Facebook and posting it to our website, how else are we going to communicate this?
And that David and I had a conversation about promotions. We've got some ideas that are in our communications plan, so we can apply some of those ideas to how we promote this.
One of them, for instance, the Ann Arbor Observer has a monthly calendar of events. We'd have it in there. Get it onto MLive, plus, of course, the Facebook and the Township website and our website.
And next door.
And next door, right.
And you
Pretty
had
much.
mentioned WHMI, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it's in the, I can bring up, I almost have the changes made, for that you just suggested.
Yeah, before we screen share that, Christina, I thought we were calling this a nature hike. Spring hike is fine with me too. What I don't see here is what I think is so amazing about this preserve is that it's a really big woods. You really feel like you're in the wilderness, and there's very few places that I hike that I've ever been in Washtenaw County where you feel as isolated as you do here. So if somehow or another we could mention the scope of this park, what is it, 250 acres to 300 acres?
It's some huge amount because they added to it.
I think it's 250.
Yeah, they added
Yeah.
to it recently.
Some details about the location, that would be nice.
Just to, because, and I don't know if it's going to be, if we have this person who's going to be Sean from the county, what is it that they're going to be able to expose me to that I wouldn't know from just walking around that, by myself, as opposed to.
Oh, David, they're like professional naturalists, and they'll talk about the plants and the trees and the geology and the history of the place. And it's a very educational thing. I mean, they are not lightweights, these people.
I wasn't trying to say they were lightweights. I was just trying to say that it would be, maybe this is too much information to try to get into this ad.
One thing I thought was if we wanted to put some more kind of detailed information, maybe even the thing about dogs, could you put it in the, together with the registration? So when people register, they'll see no dogs. I also would even put overflow parking in the registration part. Although I don't really care. I think this is fine the way it is, really. But if you want to be a little nitpicky, it's not until you commit yourself, until you're ready to register that you need to know some of that stuff.
Well,
So,
and I
that's a
think
good point.
we need to make this seem fun. Okay, like people, aren't necessarily coming for, a lecture. They're coming to have fun. They're probably bringing their kids. They're bringing their families. So let's make sure that we're not getting too heavy with, this jargon and language and words and words and words, and focus on making this a good time.
Right. But really, David, honestly, the naturalists bring so much to it. And
Well, I
they're
enjoyed it.
professional. They know what level to hit people at. They're not going to be.
We can edit some of this copy right here. And Julia, didn't you say that Sean was going to provide us with some more detailed copy about what the hike is going to
Yes,
be like?
Sean says she will write something. And Christina and I thought it could go in that paragraph that right now says whatever it says. You just clicked. It's just the paragraph above
Right
the
here.
10 a.m. Yeah, discovered 250 acres. Well, David, that speaks to a bit of your.
Yeah.
I just added that. I'm editing on the fly here. Oops.
And I would, just as we go there, so for you to explore just around the corner here in Northfield Township, I would just say to explore
here.
here in Northfield Township.
Right here in Northfield Township or something to that
Right.
effect.
I don't think you need just around the corner.
But
That
Sean
That will save
led
space.
a walk there in the fall. And so she has her text for the fall, but she's going to write a new text for what you expect to see in the spring.
right.
Great. I love this thing. I think it's a wonderful product. I think it's a wonderful creation. I'm very happy with
Yeah.
it.
And the other thing is, again, just to save space, I don't know if you need the person from Washtenaw County Parks who's going to do it.
What do you
I
mean?
don't-
We can edit this once she sends us the information. I'll just leave this here as a spaceholder for right now.
So just
And then
to
when
save
she
space.
sends the info, we can write some more copy about what people can expect, because that's going to be way more interesting in who's doing the hike.
Yeah.
What do
Exactly.
you- Yeah.
Yeah.
So once we get that, we'll update it. but I mean, this could be used for right now, if there's, places, for example, the website, we just want to get some basic information out ahead of time.
Yeah.
We
Sure,
have
Yeah.
we could do it at the website, and we can also print them out and put copies at the township whenever you're ready, if you want to wait or do it now.
Julia, do you have any sense when Sean's going to get back to us with
I
that?
don't know. I contacted her at the end of last week, and I haven't heard back from her. But I'm sure she'll get some stuff to us. I think it's too soon. I think April's fine,
Yeah,
Or end of
okay.
March, but I don't think we need it this week. I really don't. And I wanted to add one more thing. I contacted Chris Olson at the Huron River Watershed Council, and they have not yet done a bioreserve assessment of this preserve, and they would love to do it. So she's going to schedule a bioreserve assessment of it sometime in early May. Her program starts in the 1st of May, so that we'll actually have, or Sean will have, or I'll go on that too. And I believe she wouldn't turn anybody else down that wanted to go along for that. We'll have a good sense of what is going to be blooming, what is, what's important, what's interesting, whatever. So that's an extra kind of a bonus
That's great.
that we'll
That's
get.
great.
Yeah.
So,
All right, good job. Sue,
Yes.
did you have something to say?
Yeah.
Oh, she's on mute again.
Yeah, I do. I have a couple things to say. One, Sean does things like tracking mink, which probably is harder in the spring, but she knows stuff normal people don't know.
Mhm.
And the other thing I'd say is she may have a following. She might not, but I think she does.
I think she
People
does.
know who she is because she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so having her name in there might not be, it might be something that people actually respond to. She does things, she just does amazing things. And then if she didn't get back to you this week, it might be because she has COVID and her whole family has COVID. And so last I heard, they weren't very sick, but they were kind of sick. So, like a, cold level sick, but they're all home. Well, I guess they were probably mostly home anyway. She didn't know where she caught it, but they definitely have it. So,
Okay.
and they don't feel well. So
Okay. I'll send her a
that's all I
message.
have to offer at the moment.
Those are good points, Sue. Thank you.
Just one point too. I don't think we're going to have any trouble filling it up because the first hike and the third hike, we have a limit of 10 people. If I remember that right. And the middle hike is 15. So we can only take, a total of 25 and 35 people total for all three hikes.
Is the 15 people, has anybody checked to confirm that is COVID cool? I'm not sure that number is COVID cool.
Julia, you're probably going to say something about it, that it's actually that many adults. Is that right? And she wasn't specific about kids, but that's what the COVID number.
From what I understand, that was total number.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was wrong when I said kids didn't count. Actually, kids do count. So
Okay.
for each of the 10, the COVID business is required by Washtenaw County Parks. When we do our own thing, I don't think we're required to keep it, but it is strongly suggested that if you have more than 15 people in a group, you lose it, And so another option, if we get ourselves really busy and lots of people, is if Tallulah led one group of 15 and I led one group of 15. But I think we should sort of hold that off and just see, because that gives us a bit of flexibility. Tallulah said, you can do it. I know you can.
Yeah.
I would be faking it,
I'm
but
for
I
it.
can fake it,
But you know what? This isn't going to be our only hike. So
That's true.
we're going to have more.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
We just need to know the numbers and decide in advance so that I can change the limits.
Yeah.
Because
The last thing that we need is bad publicity from having too many people on a hike during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
So I just want to make sure that we're following all the recommendations.
yeah. And it'll be later in May, so hopefully things will.
Yeah, and we are outdoors, but anyway, yes, Sue.
Sue?
If we need another hike leader, I actually know pretty much all the plants and stuff.
I bet you do. Sure.
Okay.
And I know those preserves really well. I don't know all the plants, but I'm like, hey, there's that rock that I pass by every
We could go
time.
together.
So what's the status? What do we do at this point in time? We've got this really great ad. We're going to make some changes. Are we going to do anything between now and April 1st,
No.
or the first meeting in April?
No, we'll just add whatever information we get from Sean to kind of zing it up so people know. And then I'll put it on the shared drive somewhere, so whenever we get ready to start promoting it, it will be there for you.
Yes, well, I would like to know, like I said, from the subcommittee, what I can make sure it gets on our Facebook, and I can make sure that it gets on our township website. But beyond that, I think the subcommittee should take the con on making sure it gets to Jennifer Carlisle to go in the newsletter, or getting to, you mentioned several other ways that you thought you might promote it.
Yeah, we'll have to work on.
Or at least give those things to me so that I know what to do with them.
They're in the communications plan. We have some of that in the communications plan already, but we can get more detailed with it.
Right. Okay, great. So we'll definitely have it on the agenda for April and make some decisions about the communication outreach that we're going to do in the month of April or late April, a month prior to the May 22 date. Cool. So that takes care of item number 3, unless there's any other comments about the nature hike other than great job.
Very nice.
Fabulous. All right.
Okay.
Subcommittee updates, starting with the outreach subcommittee.
That's us, Tallulah.
All righty.
So Tallulah and I met twice in the month of February. I have a log in there. It was more for us, but y'all are welcome to read it. So if you remember when we talked about our goals and outline, there was this goal number 2 that was outreach to the community and to schools. And it had like a whole curriculum in there. And we thought, whoa, that's a lot. So our biggest goal when we got together was we wanted to kind of narrow those things down and determine what exactly the goals for that should be. And what we discovered was that there are a lot of resources already out there. And we kind of went through and compiled those things, which I think was really an effective way to get things done. If you look at the subcommittee outline, there is a link in there to the spreadsheet that we created if you're interested in looking at it.
Yeah, if you want, can you bring that up, Marissa?
No, I can't. If somebody else wants to, they can, but I'm also trying to take notes.
Oh,
So no,
okay.
I can't share my screen and take notes. And
I am,
How about Tallulah?
yeah, let me, because I know I emailed it to you. I'm trying to look at the.
Well, if you go into the folder, the documents you need for the meeting.
I looked at it. I just thought, if you talked to it, and I thought it was really.
No, I know. I was trying to get to Tallulah. She can share it from there too.
Oh, okay, got it.
The link to
Hold
the
on, I need it.
spreadsheet is in that document.
And if you can't, that's
Documents
fine.
needed for the meeting. Okay.
That's fine. What was that? That's fine if you can't. I mean, I looked at it and I thought it was really cool.
I could do it. Marissa, where is it at?
There's the outreach subcommittee log.
Oh, I got it.
Log. And then at the bottom, I put a link to the spreadsheet that we made.
Spreadsheet. Okay.
Um,
Enable real time. Okay. Open. Oh. Crap. Google Sheets.
so
That's okay.
Okay.
I looked at it and it's really cool, actually.
Here,
be able to share it.
I got it. Yeah.
I'm looking at a Word document, not at you guys. I'm sorry. But I think it was really eye-opening.
Yeah.
I don't think that our outreach needs to be something that we create from scratch. I think a lot of our outreach can be adding a portion of our website that's really thorough and the things that are available and continuing to push those things via Facebook, which I do as I see them. Like I just, Julia sent me today a link to, the next Stewardship Saturday, which is this coming up, next Saturday on the 13th, Independence Lake. And so I posted that to our Facebook. I posted the Master Rain Gardener class to the Facebook. Tallulah found a really cool DNR program for children. And I put that to our Facebook. So just putting things out there and continuing to be supportive of those things. I think that is going to be a large majority of our outreach plan at this point.
Yeah. So how we kind of did this is set up is that the top, probably through where it says Washtenaw County Water Resources to MSU about is kind of like general public opportunities. And then the bottom portion is specifically for school children. So it could be, public school or homeschool. So that's kind of how that's broken up. And then we have the links on there. But yeah, there was no shortage, of opportunities there. So.
No, it's really, I think now is I know Marissa said she's doing it on Facebook and is just to get it out to people as much as possible.
And that's what we were talking about. Like we need to bring in the Parks and Recreation Department, maybe inform them of some of these opportunities, right. Or the schools,
Yep. The schools would be good. It might be something, again, during our board report that we included in our board report, and we might include it in all our board reports. And like you said, the schools, reach out to them, because it's really very nice and cool. I thought, wow, how cool. Cool is probably not an in word now, but I thought, wow.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
I thought,
for
wow,
outreach,
this is great.
I think that the twofold, the community outreach starts with continuing to share things on Facebook. But I also think that when the new website is built out, because I don't know if the committee doesn't realize that the township is in the midst of transferring all of the data from the website that currently exists, and then I have access to edit to an entirely new platform. So when that happens, I can add this information to our website or have somebody add this information to our website. To do it now would be kind of fruitless, I think, because these changes are forthcoming.
Right.
It'll have to be done twice if I do it right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, and I think, again, we probably want to pick what we do and add to the board packet. Maybe it's everything.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly, I'd be happy to write an update on these things for the next board update.
Yeah.
But another thing that Tallulah and I talked about was possibly, well, I know we were going to reach out to somebody at the school and find out what, if any of these are they already taking advantage of, to see if possibly there's an opportunity there to like inform the schools of the different programs that are available.
Yeah, and another thing I sent you guys separate.
Do you need a name? Are you going to, I'm sorry, going to go back to the school. Do you need names, or are you just going to, who are you going to send it to at the schools? De Kaiser, I know, like Linda Lupi. I usually get good responses from her. Maybe Eric Koback. He's like the science teacher. I don't know. Do you have names that you might try, or?
I don't, but I'm open.
Okay.
Tallulah, did you call somebody from the school already?
No, I didn't.
Okay, why don't I send you like Linda Lupi and Eric Koback name. Eric is, like I said, the science teacher, I think 6th and 7th grade science teacher, also the Kiwanis Key Club. He can be a little difficult, but Linda's pretty good. Linda Lupi is very responsive, so maybe she could help too. So I'll give you those two names. And they're you can find them on but I'll send their emails to you. How's that?
Yes, sounds good.
All right, so
I had one other comment on that. Is there any thought about adding like a page for local farms that you can get local food from going forward, maybe?
Good idea.
I mean, we haven't talked about that yet, but
It's kind of not in the same scope of work.
Okay.
Opinion.
Could that be a link on our website or just a resource on the website? Not necessarily.
I would be super happy to add a link to our website, but I just don't have the bandwidth to go research it.
No. So
I already have it.
You have it. Yes, I'd be happy to put it on our website.
Okay, cool. There's I'm dating myself. But I thought about that. Thanks. Okay,
There's an
thanks.
outfit up north that has a database of all the CSAs in the state, and you can look it up by county.
Oh, yeah.
It's very cool.
Let's see, I have used CSA Finder before.
Yeah, so is that what you were thinking about, farmers that are selling directly?
Yeah, like how would I guess Slow's Farm is and Rain Dance is, right? And then
Slow Farm is in Ann Arbor Township, but it's
and then Webster Township, right? What's the name of that one? I can't
Whitney
think of it.
Farms.
Yeah,
But like Rain Dance is a CSA. I can't just like walk up and buy food from them. I have to sign up for one of their shares,
right.
Right.
But,
which is fine,
But you
but
can't.
but
it's
I'd
different than
almost,
selling direct.
right. I think you probably, if we go this route, you'd want this directs as versus where you have to actually the CSAs. So I think you'd
I
want
think-
to, or in maybe in one of the columns, you could say, I don't know, something. So it was CSA versus direct. Anyways, a thought. I don't know, David, you want you and I maybe to do something on that?
Yeah. I can get a list and we'll, it'll just distinguish which ones are
Yeah.
open to the
Okay.
public and which ones you have
Yep.
to have on their programs. But yeah, that would be great information to have on our website or Facebook page.
Yep.
There's some links online, and so I'm looking right now. And so localfoodsummit.org has local farms and markets with online farms, and then it has links to all these different farms. And I think they're probably all over Washtenaw County, or there might even be some in Livingston as long as they're close, but it might be easier just to link to that if you're going to go outside the township.
Sure.
Because there's
That's a good idea.
green things in Ann Arbor Township.
What's the
The farm
website?
on Jennings is Webster.
Sue, what's the website?
Localfoodsummit.org.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
It also has Ann Arbor
Distilling.
Distilling Company, which has spirits.
Well, that's good. Well, that's all I was looking for. So if something's
Okay.
already out there, then we can
Great.
just,
That's great.
we can put it on the website and put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
So,
Sue, can you
great.
forward me that link? We actually have a resources tab already and I can add that right to you.
Yepers.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thanks.
All right.
Okay.
Can we move to the next subcommittee report?
I think so.
Yep.
Christina, do you want to take the lead here with the communications plan that you drew up?
Sure, and I can share my screen. I brought this up.
Good.
Everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
So David and I met and talked about communications plan, and we can fill this out with more detail as we go along. But basically, the first thing you always want to identify is who's your audience or who you're trying to reach. And so we talked about the fact that it's, children, which is really the outreach work that the Marissa and Tallulah that you're working on are a subset of that is children, and we really want to get them engaged. And then the other one we identified as homeowners in Northfield Township. I think people that have a home probably have more of an investment in the community. So just to kind of narrow things down a little bit, and they're paying taxes. So
I have a comment on that.
yes.
So I was thinking, why wouldn't we go to resident, taxpayers? I get maybe you don't want to do businesses, but you're, leaving out like potentially the apartments, even though they don't pay taxes, they are going to be voters. And I think we need to reach them because they could be pivotal in any kind of vote.
Do we want to say voters or residents, maybe?
I think more residents, because then you have the manufacturing community too, that they don't, and they're not necessarily taxpayers, but you don't want to leave them out, they're voters. So I think you want to make sure whoever we do an outreach to, it's residents and AKA voters of the township.
Okay.
Surely, I agree. I mean, there must be renters over there too that would like to at least go on the hike,
Well, yeah, I mean, again,
Right.
I don't think you want to do just homeowners. I think, and I'm not sure we want to put business owners in there. I think residents, AKA voters. That was just my comment on that.
Okay, great.
Okay. So what's our message? Education and action. So those seems to be the two things that we're really focused on at this point with the activities that we have, because that, I think will set us up for the long-term goal of having a sorry, it's the end of the day. Oh, the tax. I'm sorry.
Millage.
Millage. Thank you. So in order to get there, we really want to educate and get people engaged and to take action. So with children, it's,
Can I interrupt you for a sec? I know you're tired. It's been a long day for you. Rather than going through this document, which I assume everybody's already looked at because that was part of our assignments, let's just talk about the tagline and maybe the outlets for the outreach that we had mentioned before. And unless somebody else has questions about the work product that we've generated there, I don't see any need to go right through
okay.
step by step.
Yeah, and let's see here. I just had a comment on, there's one. Let's see here. Do something to make nothing happen. I'm not sure what that meant, the possible messaging.
It was
Number
just
3A.
right. It was just things that we were playing around with to catch people's attention, to have some sort of a tagline or messaging. It kind of a little tongue in cheek was the intent with that. We had, David, where are the rest of those taglines that we came up with?
Oh, I'd have to find them. We had started with, like 100 different slogans, and we narrowed it down to 5, which we will distribute to the committee and say, what do you think about these?
Well, anyway, I was confused on that, so that didn't resonate with me very well. So just as one person.
We were just playing around with a little outside of the box types of thoughts, and we'll share those. Sorry, I was thinking they were in.
That's okay.
Marissa,
but anyway, that was
something?
just a comment. I didn't quite understand that one. So.
Yeah. So earlier we were talking about where are we going to promote the hike, and so here is a list of where we're going to share our message.
Just for everybody's information, all that drama on Facebook is no more. I don't know what happened, but it's no more.
Oh, really?
Drama is done. All right.
Yep. And there's a couple other Facebook. What's the other one? What's the one Michelle Petoskey does? Marissa, do you know? I can't remember.
There's All Things Whitmore Lake and Beyond.
Yeah, that's probably a good one.
There's Whitmore Lake, None of the Drama.
That's probably a good one too. So you need to add a couple more Facebook.
Yeah, I know, and I know all of them, so I can get them.
Medium drama.
So maybe we just put
somewhere.
Facebook.
Yeah,
I would
Facebook.
rather, even if the I would like to say, even if the drama page resurfaces, because it probably will.
Yeah.
I think we should not engage with it.
Yeah, I think we want to stay with All Things Whitmore Lake and none of that drama. I agree with that.
That page is, it got nuked probably for having really hateful messaging on it, and I think that it's best to just steer clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right,
I'm
cool.
gonna put Facebook, and then we can decide which.
Yeah, we can put, yes, we can, I can figure out which groups those are. Or we can have a list of approved groups or.
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
And they're constantly changing and evolving as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something real quick about the tagline thing, because David, you sent out that email earlier about what are we going to attract people to. And when I'm thinking about, I haven't gotten like the catchphrase or whatever, but like the millage would provide a little bit of money that can grow exponentially, because we will be able to use that money to acquire land, to get grants, to apply for, funding for land that we can't pay out of pocket. You know, we won't be able to afford that. And so it's, to kind of, I think that's where the messaging needs to go, is, taking a little bit and making it a lot, is,
Leverage.
Well, something, give a little, get a lot.
I think
like
that
that.
it's really important when we're talking about messaging, and I think that's probably what, without realizing it even perhaps, why Lenore had a red flag when she said, we work hard to do nothing, is that we need to make sure that our message is pro-preservation, not anti-growth.
Right.
Like, we need to focus on what we're doing that's positive.
Right.
We're trying to preserve land, not halt development or stop development.
Right.
Those things are going to be met with opposition, where if we just choose our words more carefully, we can probably avoid it.
Correct. I agree.
I like
Gotcha.
the idea too. I think that's important is like preserving it for our children or preserving it for the future. So a little today, means a world of, whatever for our kids tomorrow or something like that. A world of wonder, like, yeah.
Right. So I will send to the all the members of the committee the shorter list of slogans. Feel free to find others if you don't like the ones that we send out that Christina and I worked on. But basically, yeah, let's have some feet. Maybe Marissa can do one of those MailChimp or whatever that
Google
Oh,
Form.
the polls.
Google Forms where you get to vote in your favorite sort of thing so that we can figure out what everybody likes the most.
Yeah, Survey Monkey.
Survey Monkey or something along those lines. We'll send that out after this meeting and have it have our vote tallied up by the
Just
next meeting.
volunteer work for me without confirming. I would recommend that for something, if it's 5 taglines, that you start an email chain and we put it on the agenda for the next meeting and pick one.
Right.
No reason to overcomplicate it.
Okay, that's fine.
So the action item will be, you'll send the email and I'll put it on the agenda for next time.
Okay, it's a deal.
Yes. Okay.
I'll do that. All right. Christina, I think we're good. Thank you very much for putting that together, Christina. It really gives us a framework that we can always refer back to, and in terms of whatever communications we have, how we're going to communicate that to the people to count. Fundraising, financing subcommittee.
Yep. Who's that?
So I sent a note in the email that said, you're going to see this and you're not going to know who it is. So this was in direct reference to 2 of the action items from the last meeting.
Yep. So
Um,
I
it was
didn't know I
the
had a
one-
committee, but
It's not, I sent a note about it in
That's
the
okay.
email that I sent out that said, hey, you're going to see this subcommittee, because I didn't want to just put Sue and Lenore on here. But
That's
this
okay.
was the action item of, let me pull the action items up. The one that you were supposed to check on, Lenore, about our,
Yep. So here's what I did talk to our attorney on this. And his comment is, I'll read it, and I could have sent it. In general, the land preservation is not an entity. It is a body created by the township, and funds would be donated to the township. Funds could be donated with restrictions, provided the township agrees to them. So we need to determine and talk to the auditor. We already have a fund balance set up. So if you give a donation and you want it to go to land preservation, it will go into a specific fund for just that. As well, if you wanted to give to the community center, it will go there. And he said, one concern we need to address as a township in an audit is someone designates to a specific property, and we weren't to get that property, what do we do? Usually you would give it back. If they said, hey, I'm going to donate so you could help preserve part of the Kennedy farm, and it didn't turn out the Kennedy farm was the one that got preserved, you would typically, as an organization, give that back. Again, this is something I want to talk to him further about, because he didn't, and after a while, I don't like to do a lot of emails anyway on items. But one thing I would like to talk to him again is, so could we put it in the newsletter when it goes out in the taxes? Oh, by the way, donate to the land preservation fund to help preserve land. So, and I didn't get a specific answer on that. So that's a follow-up I need to do is, can we put it in the newsletter to say, hey, donate to us. This is what we're doing. This is what we'll do with the money. I didn't get an answer on that. So that's my follow-up. So I do hope we have as mentioned, he has office hours, so I can take some of these to him.
All right, cool. We'll
I
have.
think we
thank you for
can
that one. We'll
donate
have-
for a land purchase that, might not happen. Is there legal? I don't know. That just seems.
Well, I mean, you could
Yeah.
actually designate it. So we have organizations, I'll use like Northfield Human Services, people designate money towards adoptive family. And when they do that, that's all it can be used for, and it has to go into restricted funds. And if we don't need all that money, then we keep it for next year, but we can't use it on any other program.
Yeah.
But he just said there could be a parcel that someone, so let's say we're trying to raise funds, there's on 6 Mile, the kind of natural bird sanctuary that kind of arose by itself. And if you wanted to raise funds to protect that, and it turns out you didn't get it, then you would have to give the money back. So
Okay,
I think it's a stretch, but you need to have a policy to address it.
yeah.
That's all.
We don't need a policy. The township needs a policy.
Correct.
All
All
right.
the funding, basically what he's saying is funding goes to the township. It needs to be their policy. We could recommend, but it needs to be their policy.
All right. Well, I would hope that we don't really need private donations in order to get anything accomplished regarding the Land Preservation Committee. But if you'll get back in touch with the attorney and clarify.
Yeah, I'm still working on that. Again,
All
I
right.
just don't like to go back and forth on emails. That's all.
Yeah, Lenore has higher office in mind, vice president, then president of the country, that sort of thing. And she doesn't want a trail of nasty comments in there.
No, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
A lawyer told me just pick up the phone and make a phone call. So I try to do
right.
that.
Great. Let's move to item number 5. We're over an hour. And
Yep.
I don't think we have to finish in an hour, but it was a goal. Discussion of the school and community habitat grant.
Okay,
That's news to me. I don't know anything about that.
yes, you do.
Do I?
Yeah, you
I'll
can-
do.
Yes, we do.
Oh, that one. All right. I'm losing it here. Yes. Okay, fine. Who would like to start the discussion?
I will. I don't have it in front of me just because I'll start the discussion just because I sent out an email about what I read. So Marissa and I chatted, and the grant is not for money. The
Oh,
grant is for resources, which may include native plants, native trees, some plans, some guidance, but it's not for money. And so to apply for this grant, we have to have a specific location in mind and a specific plan, and we have to have public engagement, and it needs to be somewhere that's highly visible, that people can go to. And so, there's the application process, but throughout the whole, if you do receive the grant, there's many steps to carry out, not just writing the grant, but implementing the grant, and then the follow-up documentation of the grant and obligations that have to be met. So I have it in the email. I need to open up and look at it, and I could bring it up for you. But so, we would need to possibly hire someone to write the grant. It's not something that's just going to take, a little bit of time. Or do we want to direct someone to the grant and say, this is this is available. Marissa, go ahead.
Yeah, when Tallulah and I talked, so I looked at this too, and I think it's really cool, and I got excited about it. I think I'm the one who fired it off to everybody, actually, and I was really excited about it. But when I took a step back and looked at the goals that we just wrote for ourselves, this doesn't fit into that. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't think it's a cool opportunity. I think that our best course of action as an advisory committee would be to write a memo informing the Board of Trustees about this, and copy the Parks and Rec on it and send it on down the line, because I don't think it aligns well with our goals. We already all have a lot of work on our plate with this committee. So I don't think that this is urgent enough for us to take on the manpower for it. So I think we should send it on down the line.
I agree. And the other, the one thing that caught me is maybe it'd be something good for the school to do.
Mm-hmm.
They have that property by the high school, and that might be an area if they were interested. So it'd be, again, to send it to them. I thought one interesting thing in reading it was it had to be protected from deer invasion or something. I'm like, how's that going to happen? Good luck with that.
Very tall fences.
Yeah, right. But so I was just kind of curious, but I think it might be a good thing for the school at the high school property with that area that they have.
I would be happy to create like a nice letterheaded memo that we can send to the board, the Parks and Rec, and the school.
I think that's great, Marissa.
And I can just, if I don't know if I need a motion, but I can just do it and send it. I don't know that it needs to be.
Yep, I'm good with that. You can make a motion that you can just do it and send it.
Second,
Okay, great.
aye.
I,
I'm from the
Thank you.
secretary.
Thank
I'll
you,
figure it out.
Marissa. I think that's great.
All right. I'll have that done before we meet again.
Second call to the public. Lauren. Still there?
Lauren.
All right, Lauren doesn't have anything. I don't see anyone else. We can close the second call to the public. Board member comments.
I'd just like to make a comment that, I don't know, David, if you were at the end of the meeting, and I think Marissa was, is that Ms. Chick mentioned about including our minutes to the board. So maybe when we do our liaison report, we might just say, you know, attached are the minutes. I'm not sure if we want to wait to see if other committees do that and see what the policy is from the board, but there was some mention of doing that. So I'm not sure. It was just, that's my comment as a board member. If we want to start doing it, wait till we see what others do. So
We can certainly appease the trustees that are interested in wanting to know what our minutes are. I mean, I think we can provide them with minutes that are draft minutes. Marissa does a great job putting the minutes together, and you usually have them the same day, like
I'm
later
working on
tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, I think I made this recommendation once before just because I feel like nobody reads them.
I read them.
And I would like,
I-
I didn't mean I'm glad that you do, Lenora. I don't feel like the board reads them, meaning that they do not seek out on our website,
Right.
you know. But if we included them, they might, and then they wouldn't be so surprised by the things that we were doing, or, you know, they wouldn't think that we're doing things out of line. They would be fully aware of what we're doing and have been expected at that point to read them because they were in their packet.
Right.
Yeah, I like the.
I think it's a
like the
great idea.
recommendation that Lenore made about, let's attach them to the board memo from the Land Preservation Committee.
So my question then is, if we attach it, do we want to attach the ones we just approved?
I would
Meaning-
just attach approved minutes. I wouldn't
Okay.
attach unapproved minutes.
Okay. All
That
right.
would be my personal.
No, I agree. I agree. So I'm good. So, you know, we approved the minutes tonight with the one
good.
change, so we could send that to in the board packet for tomorrow.
All right, great.
Okay.
Sue, you have your hand up. You
Comment.
wanted to say something?
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everybody for doing so much work. We've got a lot of dynamic and interesting stuff going on, and it's really exciting to see. And, you know, when I talked about being kind of frustrated at times, I mean, you know, this is great. What we're doing in terms of getting information out to people about how to enjoy the outdoors, possibly how to buy food from local farmers, and the hike at the preserve, that's all really awesome stuff that makes life better today, whether we actually end up preserving land or not. And I think it will help build support for the programs. And, you know, even as we're working on this, we are saving land in Northfield Township because we've got the county program and the Greenbelt program. So just
Right.
awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say?
I would just like to add that although our bylaws kind of got hijinksed, something that was in them were multiple chairs. Like we wanted to do a chair, a co-chair, a treasurer. So for the I would say office holding members of the group, I would think about that. Because I think that's something that should be coming up on an agenda shortly. I think it's that we're about due for an election. Are we not? I mean, it's been a year.
Yeah, let's put it on the next agenda.
Yep.
Just something to think about.
One thing that I'd like to bring up is, I know that Julie has been looking to make an exit after 5 solid years on the,
Not
I'm
fun.
trying, Julia.
You can barely see her. She's already fading
I
out.
like being in the dark.
I'm trying to find somebody. I've been like directly soliciting people who I think might be interested.
well, that's why I brought this up, because I've had a conversation. I've been trying to recruit Lee Mulbatch, who from what he tells me, he farms about 25% of the property that's being farmed in this township, which is about 4,100 acres.
That's great.
Based on me spending a bunch of time on Google Earth, going from property to property and drawing the lines around them. It's a very cool thing they have where you draw the lines and it tells you how many acres there are within the border of the lines that you draw. So anyway, he's uncomfortable about it, but he told me about a fellow who does farm in this community, who owns property that he farms in Webster and lives on North Shore. However, he's in Livingston County, in Green Oak Township. However, I don't think we'd have any problem having somebody who farms in Northfield Township and lives on the north side of the lake be a member of our committee. And I had a nice conversation with him today, as a matter of fact, and he's going to consider it. And the other great thing about having John Meadows on is that he sits on the Whitmore Lake School Board. So it'd be a great connection between us and the schools.
Oh, nice.
So hopefully he will say yes. He was worried about the time commitment. I said, the time commitment, as far as I'm concerned, is 1 hour a month. We wouldn't need to give him any assignments necessarily as on subcommittees. And if he doesn't do it, there's a chance that Lee Mulbatch's son,
Oh, that would be good.
Evan, might do it, who would be a younger member, which would be great. He's probably as young as Marissa or Tallulah.
Oh, now you don't know, it could be as young as you and I.
Younger, he could be 20-something.
I think Lee Mulbatch is younger than you guys.
I'd rather have a farmer that was
So
on,
too.
What's that, Tallulah?
I'd rather have a farmer who was on subcommittees. I mean, I don't think it's fair, to,
Right.
go in with like, well, you're joining, but you don't have to really do anything. You can just
I agree with that. I think especially, yeah, I agree.
for
You
how much
probably-
you might
I hear what you're saying.
you
I
know.
hear what you're saying. I don't want to scare him away with some, huge commitment of time that we might have for him. And
Tell him
He-
2 hours.
Yeah,
He's-
tell
yeah.
him too.
he's somebody who's actually involved to the point where he's actually sitting on the school board.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if you want to get something done, give it to somebody who's busy. He's already busy. I think that if he said, yes, I'm with you, I think he would want to participate on various subcommittees. I wouldn't guarantee that he wouldn't have to do anything. So I hear what you're saying, and I'll make sure I talk to him about that if he comes back to me and says yes. But that's a development. It's either he or Evan Mulbatch. So we might have a new member by the end of this, by our next meeting.
Great.
All righty.
That's great.
That's all I've got. Other than thank you all for the work. Like Sue said, we've got a lot of pans in the fire right now, a lot of irons in the fire, and things are moving forward. And I certainly hope that on the 9th, we get unanimous support for asking the Planning Commission to draft a PDR ordinance. It's like Ken Dignan said, it's not controversial. It allows us to apply for millions of dollars in grants and doesn't commit us to anything. So I don't see what the downside could possibly be. So maybe we'll get a 7-0 vote, and it'll be, like Christina said, another small victory to continue the momentum that we have going right now. So thank you all. And
That was good waiting.
if anybody has anything else, and if not, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Lots of support.
Support.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Got
Bye,
it.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Hey, you guys,
Bye,
that was
thank
great. So
you.
last time we adjourned at 8:37, so we beat our time by an hour and 16 minutes today.
Good job. Good job.